Hello and welcome. As I mentioned to the previous video, I have some time lapses lying around from the cartoon bear that I did on Instagram. There's plenty of things. I just have to go through that, especially because I'm not uploading here on that channel. So let's just jump on the another animation, apple and onion. At the very beginning of this, as always, I had to redraw this entire illustration and divide it into layers. This is a very complex illustration to work with, and I had to divide it into tons of layer. Of course, I could have just a background behind, but there's not the only thing in this, right? There is a front part of the bath, then there are one part of the bubbles, second part, third part of the bubbles, then is the sink with the water and the bubbles behind it. Somewhere in between there is a character, apple of course, and the back of the bath and said background. So there are plenty of layers to go through, and I had to redraw all of them. In this animation you'll see a lot of cool water animation. There will be this sink animation, which I'm gonna go through in a second, then some bubble and foam animation, animated frame by frame and with some smart methods, because when something is further away from the camera there is no reason to animate it frame by frame if it's not in the focus, especially if you have some frame by frame animation on focus where you really need people to pay attention. And I started with this sink water loop animation, which I will go through in a second. The animation will go in the way where I'm popping the bubbles with the finger of, well, actually Apple will do this. So I'm starting with designing the shape of the water, like the outline of it, and every corner of the shape have to go down and just imitate this flow of the water that's going down. But not only the shape itself will define the flow of the water, we will have the lines inside of it that will go from top to bottom to define the direction of the flow. And also in a second you will see those lines coming from the sink itself, from the very top. Right now you can see them. Is the third way of showing the flow, where it is coming from and how the loop is going. You could see I was going back and forth doing some cleanup to make the loop perfectly. For the foam, where the water hits the surface of the water, we have the bowl of the foam, and the foam was designed in the way where the bubble start popping from the middle, obviously, and goes for left side and then right side. Another ball, another bubble, and it was like a fountain, as you can see on the screen right now. Once I had this done and I was pretty happy with it, I was able to move to the next part of the foam, that part in between the apple and the sink. Not an entire part of it, as you saw I divided it into two layers over there. And well, this animation was very precise, especially for this illustration in general, because there is a very defined outline, of course, and we had like the base color of the bubbles and that darker one, and also we have that light on top of it. The bubbles in a basic motion, they are coming from the sink into the character side, so there is a constant motion of flowing towards the character. That was the idea of it. And speaking of the design, it's a tough challenge to to do it. As you can see on the background, on the bubbles on the back, I use the mesh wrap. The mesh wrap is working in this particular example. I have 4 points and I could just wave those 4 points to wave the entire image, and that's how it's working. Right now I have the inverse kinematic on the hand. The hand and the forearm are in one layer, the other layer is this part of the arm, and with those 2 layers I was able to just simply move the hand to pop the bubbles. There was nothing too much going on in here. In a second you'll see that I'm skewing the character, so when the character is trying to reach the bubble, there is a little skew with the forward motion of the body to actually look like the character is doing something to pop the bubble, not only push the hand, because that's not natural at all. In the meantime, I did the cutter for the pupils to be able to move them, so I used the white of the eye to cut the pupils so I could follow the pupil with the hand. There is a problem always with raster outlines, and as you can see I'm trying to solve the issue of what I can see in the render view. This elbow is ugly right now, so I had to use some matte resize to actually make it work properly. And then I have the bubbles. At the very beginning I have just one image of the bubble, and I'm just using squash and stretch and skew to actually just make a little wave flow upwards with the bubble, and then I'm popping them with the finger. At the very beginning the bubble goes very fast, skewing it like a ton and then slowing down. I'm doing it frame by frame, although I'm just moving the image, nothing else. I'm not redrawing every frame. I'm gonna redraw those images in a second to create like 4 frames, 4, 5, 6 frames to create the bubble pop. And to create that, I decided to make the bubble like scream, be scared of it. What's going on right now, right? And in this very one frame that will last for 2 frames, 1 or 2 frames, there's this scared emotion, and then just bubble is popping, and that's pretty much it. 4 or 5 frames, not much to show that bubble is popping, that they are usually popping very quick. And I have a tutorial for bubbles, so just scroll through my channel. There is a plenty to learn from it, I guess. And this is pretty much it. Well, Onion is popping the bubbles in a very weird scene. I haven't watched this show, to be honest. Maybe when I tried to make those animation, I scrolled through this show couple episodes to find something weird or with a cool special effect, and I decided to choose this one because of the water bubbles and everything that's weird around it, right? I hope you like this, maybe you learned something from it, and that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a sick day. Cheers!